Cinnamon is just delicious sawdust. No, it's true. Cinnamon, or more commonly cassia because it's cheaper, is the bark from trees of the cinnamomum family. It curls up when it's been peeled and dried, thus cinnamon sticks. But we grind it down to use it, so it's pretty much sawdust. Well shoot, I guess you really do learn something new every day. Imagine if people still took last names from their trade, like Fisher, Smith, and Fletcher. Imagine some guy introducing himself to you as Jonathan Podcaster. It's him, TED Talker. If you think about it, technically an airplane can only fly when there is human blood inside of it. These are the bold, disturbing takes I came to Tumblr for. Straps a blood bag to a drone. Behold, an airplane. Call out post to NASA. Why aren't you exploring the ocean? It's literally right underneath us. You can send a robot a million miles into space looking for aliens, but not into the giant void that takes up the majority of the Earth we live on? Please, I am scared. NASA knows. NASA has seen the dark beneath. NASA's urgency to leave the planet grows ever stronger. Mantis shrimp have 16 color rods. Humans have 3. They can see 13 more colors than us. Wait, what if grays are just colors humans can't see? What have you done? Scurvy has gotta have one of the biggest disease treatment coolness gaps of all time. Like, yeah, too much time at sea will afflict you with a curse where your body starts unraveling and old wounds come back to haunt you like vengeful ghosts. Unless you eat a lemon. That single emoji really does so much work for the comedic timing of this post. Nothing grape flavored is flavored like grapes. It's just flavored like other grape flavored things. And this is why I have trust issues. Fun fact, grape artificial flavor was the first artificial flavor created by accident. That means that some guy decided, whoa, this smells a lot like grapes. And now everyone pretends it's grapey too. It tastes like an accident. Spins my clothes in a wet metal tube, then bakes them in a different metal tube to undo the wetness. In literature, this is called defamiliarization. So congrats, this post is officially a literary masterpiece. In my house, it's called laundry. Thank you. I just want to give a special shout out to pineapples for being literally one of the best fruits in the world. They're sweet and juicy and everything a fruit should be. And they dissolve your flesh if you have it on your skin for too long. Love that. I've noticed a trend in life. The larger a thing is, the more likely it is to be evil. This applies to companies, YouTubers, people, and mountains. In cases of dogs, the direct opposite is true. A notable outlier. Wish customer service jobs operated with video game standards. So a customer would come up to me and I'd say, "Greetings, traveler, looking to trade?" And they'd only have 4 options for their response. I'd just stand there wiping down the same part of the counter for 8 hours until my shift ended. And then I'd drop everything and walk away. And if you tried to interact with me, I'd just keep running into you silently until you moved. Wish customer service jobs operated with video game standards. So a customer would come up to me and I'd say, "Greetings, traveler, looking to trade?" And they'd only have 4 options for their response. I'd just stand there wiping down the same part of the counter for 8 hours until my shift ended. And then I'd drop everything and walk away. And if you tried to interact with me, I'd just keep running into you silently until you moved. Are knees not simply leg knuckles? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. They're more like leg elbows if you think about it. No, because an elbow is just an arm knuckle. Host your own TED Talk. Unless you go with the theory that knuckles are finger elbows, this is open for discussion. Takes off my leather jacket to reveal a second secret leather jacket underneath. You mean skin? What an absolutely terrifying addition to my post. Thank you. Imagining a doctor driving by an apple orchard and hissing aggressively at it like a vampire. An apple farmer and a garlic farmer team up to fight their mutual nemesis, a vampire doctor, Dr. Acula. Sometimes it's annoying when your character can't jump in a video game, but how often do you jump in real life? Do you even remember the last time you jumped? Is a question I never anticipated, leaving me feeling so hollow and terrified. Having been told that it's rude to call dinner gross, our 4-year-old is finding increasingly creative ways to express himself. This tastes unlucky to me. This sends my mouth into outer space. That's bad. Cauliflower is pinch his fingers together. This much delicious. You told your toddler not to be rude, and so now he is developing an incredible skill with sick burns. Video game hunger meter, where once it runs out, instead of affecting your health, your dialogue options now become increasingly incoherent or incredibly mean. The lower it goes, the more items become edible. You also get more and stupider options and quests. Today I learned sharks love heavy metal because the low frequency vibrations are similar to the sounds made by struggling fish. I dare you to find a more metal sentence than sharks love heavy metal because it sounds like they're dying prey. Once my My brother's friend walked into his room and just started sniffing the air and went, "Oh, I smell a quarter," and then walked over to a pile of clothes and moved it and picked up a quarter. And I literally can't stop thinking about it. It's been like a year and it haunts me to this day. Is your brother's friend Mr. Krabs? What if instead of drops, rain fell all at once? Like a 2-inch thick sheet of water just goes swap and then it's sunny again. Fun fact, this is what would happen if there was no air resistance. And it would actually come down so fast that it would kill us. Oh, quiz. Why do lobsters have one claw bigger? They evolved to handle different prey. The larger crusher claw cracks open harder prey like a molar tooth, whilst the smaller pincer claw rips apart soft prey similar to an incisor tooth. They're lopsided. Guy about to invent mayonnaise. Dang, I wish this sandwich tasted bad. OP's never had pizza with mayonnaise. OP's never throttled someone to death with their bare hands either. But unlike what you said, that can change any second. Hot wedding idea. The worst man. It's his duty to try and prevent the wedding at all costs. The best man and worst man engage in spy versus spy shenanigans until the wedding is done. Don't forget the maid of dishonor, who spends the entire wedding doing the same thing as the worst man, except her nemesis is the maid of honor. The best man and maid of honor can work together, but the worst man and maid of dishonor are actively trying to kill each other on top of stopping the wedding. My friend told me that her boyfriend got her a super cool rock while they were on vacation together, and you would not believe my disappointment when I realized she was talking about her engagement ring. I know the feeling because I thought you would describe a cool rock in this post. Holds your head in my hands. I'm sorry I let you down. People are always like, I have face blindness, but I'm good with names. Or I'm terrible with names, but I never forget a face. Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but I am bad at both. Yesterday, I didn't recognize my coworker because he was wearing a purple shirt and I'm used to him wearing black. OP is a horse. Yeah, and I'm stomping you to death with my hooves. The creators of Superman really named a small town Smallville and a big city Metropolis, didn't they? I mean, they made a superhero named Superman, so what do you expect? Extremely fair point. Adult life tip. Do not buy a cabbage unless you have one of the following: a recipe that uses a whole cabbage, 200 recipes that use some cabbage, a desire to waste an entire half cabbage, a desire to aid your local cabbage merchant who's struggling financially because so much of their crop was destroyed in a series of bizarre incidents involving a 12-year-old martial artist. Our Japanese class found it funny that in common terminology, food isn't very distinguished from specifically rice, until it was pointed out to us that in English, meal is loose, roughly ground grain. Humans be like, staple crop. Staple crop to what? Directly to forehead. If you can't eat cilantro because it tastes like soap, that's literally just your fault. RIP to your ancestors that gave you the soap tasting cilantro gene, but I'm different. Like, hold your evolutionary L and be quiet. Adults are eating. The sushi-shaped isopod is a crustacean like no other. Give this man a rice to sit on. If my doctor's name was House, I would want to know his first name before he does any surgery on me. What if it's haunted? First name haunted, last name House. Prescribe the patient bites from mouse. Studies have found, including eyes on signs or walls, significantly deters nearby crime. That would deter nearby anything. The mosaic sees your sins. I've been eating peanut M&Ms and hope that if a cannibal eats me and is allergic to peanuts, I can get my revenge. This post started out so normal. What bothers me is there is an actual possibility this would work. Still not over the fact that when I got my prosthetic legs, they were like, do you want to be taller? And I was like, yeah, and then they made me 2 inches taller. You wish you were me. Height is a choice. I hate the term spinal fluid. It conjures up horrible imagery in my mind. Lightly taps the spigot I have attached to my spinal column. Come get y'all juice. We've never met, and I hope it stays that way. This is the most powerful reply I've ever received. A cough is just a crunchy breath. A yawn is just a boneless cough. Why do these make sense? Question: how long does a stick of deodorant last you? Usually only 3 or 4 bites. Why do I even bother? Today I learned the reason hurricanes and cyclones have human names is that the original meteorologist to name them, Chris Raggy, began naming them after politicians he didn't like. This let him say they were causing great distress or wandering aimlessly. Can we bring this back? I just realized we don't even know what dinosaurs sound like. They could have been speaking fluent German for all we know. It's too early for this. Guten Morgen, Herr Pterodactyl. Wie geht Frau Mastodon? Oh my god, neither of those are dinosaurs and there's 145 million years separating them both. This post is a paleontological disaster. Weirdest thing about video games is finding new clothing or armor for your character on dead NPCs. Like, it's such a shame Greg died, but thank god his pants are just my size. It's such a shame this spider died. Good thing he was carrying pants, a helmet, and a sword. This wolf had $5. When will Ted himself finally show up to the talk? The final boss. You guys know TED Talk stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design Talks, right? I will not let Ted hide behind these lies any longer. You can take one man's trash to another man's treasure, but you can't make it drink. Fun fact, the blending of idioms or cliches is called a malaphor. My personal favorite is we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. I'm rather fond of It's Not Rocket Surgery and Not the Sharpest Egg in the Attic. But my all-time favorite is Until the Cows Freeze Over. You've opened this can of worms. Now lie in it. My host mom in Japan referred to her Roomba as Roomba-san, and when it would get stuck, she would just look over at it and softly say, "Ganbatte, Roomba-san, ganbatte," as it made distressed beeping noises at her. Ganbatte. Cheer up. Be courageous. Do your best. Tooth fairies are a smaller and friendlier subspecies of the larger and much more hostile bone fairies. Thank you for this bespoke nightmare. Bro, forget that. How much money do I get for a femur under my pillow? You ever been so stressed that you're calm? This is my constant state. My chill is fake. How are you so calm? I've passed beyond stressed, beyond hysteria, into the gray misty indifference of complete shutdown of all but emergency services in my brain. Today I learned that NASA has been launching jellyfish into space since the 90s. Originally, 2,478 were sent up and there were 60,000 orbiting Earth by the mission's end 20 years later. The jellyfish that have returned reportedly hate life on Earth. Do you want to birth an eldritch horror? This is how you birth an eldritch horror. I want to know how they decided that they hate life on Earth. I want to be a reverse tooth fairy where I rob people and then scatter human teeth on their bed. A dentist. I don't know what your dentist is doing to you, but I think you need to go to the police. Mammals both produce milk and have hair. Ergo, a coconut is a mammal. I know you're being facetious, but this is an actual issue with morphology-based phylogeny. Leans over and whispers to person beside me. What are they talking about? Leans over and whispers back. Human ability to quantify and categorize natural phenomena is sketchy at best and wildly misleading at worst. Consider the coconut. A friend of mine tried to sell his soul on eBay and the starter price was $10. And people were bidding on it, but before anything happened, eBay took it down and sent him an email explaining that if he was selling a soul that didn't actually exist, then it was against their policy. And if he was selling a real soul, then that is a human body part, and it is also against their policy. Well done, eBay, for solving that philosophical conundrum. If it was guaranteed that you would survive, would you rather explore a black hole, explore the entire ocean, me in a black hole without being able to see anything because there's no light? Wow, this sucks. Me at the bottom of the ocean without being able to see because there's no light. Wow, this sucks. Crabs have evolved 5 separate times and yet they still can't develop a defense against boiling water. Do you have a defense against boiling water? Have you?